So yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and mute this so I don't have any lag, and we should be good to go. All right. Give it a few seconds. We should be. Does it show live on your guys' end? We should be live right
Yeah.
about now. Okay, cool.
We're up.
Awesome, awesome. So I know we got a few people trickling in. We got most of the drip community that's either on Driptopians live or they're either on Ray Barter Towns live. So we probably have a few people trickling in here in the next 15, 20, 30 minutes here or so.
Right.
So first and foremost, man, what's going on, future millionaires? Today we got a treat. We're going to be talking with a good friend of mine, Scott the Investor. We've talked multiple times. We got Drip Coach, who I've actually just met for the first time today. Watched a ton of his content. I've actually kind of grew a liking to his Cambodia content. I made a comment a few months ago, and I said, hey, Drip Coach, keep making your Cambodian content because I think it's awesome. You know what I mean? To kind of see somebody live in a passive income world, but live kind of like not in the US, kind of what we're used to. So I really liked it from my standpoint. And so today we're just going to be talking about kind of the drip marketing DAO, the mechanics of it, the details, and then also I guess we have a little bit we can cover regarding drip, drop, draw. We can pull up the white paper, but for the most part, we don't have any release dates or anything of that nature. But Forex did make a few changes. So, Scott, man, how you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. Good to be back on your channel. I know it's been a little while, and we've talked a couple times about lining one of these up, but we're kind of just waiting for that AMA, and then we get pushed out a little further. So it was good that at the marketing DAO kind of was a good catalyst to get us all on the line together, and good to bring Coach into the fold too.
For sure, for sure. And Drip Coach, man, pleasure to have you on the channel for the first time. How you doing, brother?
Out freaking standing. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, Mike. I've definitely watched your content as well. So appreciate the opportunity to share this out there. And for Scott putting it together, he's so far he's been the big brother plugging me. Actually, I think I'm older than Scott, but he's been plugging me out there, getting me some FaceTime. So I appreciate it.
For sure, man. So, man, kind of talk to us about, even before we even get all the way into this, did you guys kind of expect us to have a date on this drip VC, or did you kind of expect just some details of what was going to come next? What was kind of your, sentiment on everything?
Coach and I are we did a little vote earlier with the group of a few of us.
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, what are we going to get? We're going to get a date. We're going to get this or that. And I think we voted the same. I didn't think we'd get a date today. I think he's going to hype it up and say he's going to drop a date when he's ready to drop a date. We hadn't even really covered the white paper yet.
Right.
And Forex just likes to really segment things. We'll get the white paper now. We'll get more of a UI leak next week. The following week, we'll get an announcement about a date in the future when it'll, we want a week of marketing or 2 weeks of marketing, and then we'll get a launch date. I know I'm going to get some hate for this, but I'm thinking it's like a early May, like 1st of May launch date. That was my prediction like a month ago. It's still my prediction.
And do you think
and normally I would tell you, hey man, this is going to come out in the next 2 weeks, but I've been on the Forex roller coaster for 18 months now. And so I know how these things roll out kind of slowly. So realistically, it's not fun. People be like, oh, you should assume it's coming out tomorrow. History has told me it's going to be a few more weeks before we see this thing.
Do you think, and I got a couple questions regarding that. One, do you think he can potentially push out some type of utility for next month of April, since it is kind of, Drip's 2-year anniversary? Could you kind of see something like that happening? And that's for you as well.
I could definitely see him aligning it with next month. I forget what it was. Was it like are we exactly 30 days out? Was it around the 24th or something like that?
22nd, 24th, one of those days.
Right in there. So I could definitely see, hold on, let me close this down. My real world business life's blowing me up. I could definitely see him aligning it with that, but I'll say straight up, that's not intentional until now, where he's looking at like, hey, it's going to land around that time. Let's launch on that day. If it was intentional, he'd be talking about it right now. He'd say, this is going to drop on the 2-year anniversary. We're going to make it a big deal or whatever. So it may happen, but it's not the plan now. But if it just happens to line up like next week, he's thinking, okay, a couple weeks out, let's just launch it on that day and whatever. That's fine. Like at this point, I think don't know if jaded is the right word, but I'm like conditioned. I'm conditioned to like how he's going to roll out certain things in whatever order. Specifically with drip, he's not as motivated to launch drip stuff as he is animal farm stuff, because that's the new toy that he also actually gets compensated over there. There's really nothing for him on the drip side as far as monetary compensation. So I'm kind of conditioned to that. And that's a big part of what's been eating at some of us of how we can make an impact. And, Coach really strung everyone together to launch the marketing DAO so that we don't really have to wait for Forex for stuff anymore. Like if we can drive the price and push this project around ourselves, there's a lot of little offshoots for the project. Ours is more specific about driving people onto a platform that's already existing. It's not like a new project we came up with where there's a buyback. So yeah, I think he could definitely line it up for that. I'm just conditioned that it's going to take a little while. And in the meantime, we're hoping that we can start hitting home runs with at least getting some base hits with our marketing down.
Yeah. Do you kind of feel the same way about that, drip coach? You think we can potentially see something in April? And if so, it's just kind of how it fell, wasn't necessarily intentional?
Man, at this stage, yeah, jade is just a nice way to summarize what I'm really feeling to be politically correct.
Yeah.
But last year we had the same thing. Remember the anniversary was coming around, and literally he had an AMA and somebody told him about it. And he's like, oh, I didn't even realize it was coming up. So I don't think he pays attention to any of that and could care less, to be honest. Like, these are milestones in the community's eyes, but he's just a visionary. So he's just going to make stuff, and it comes out when he believes it's perfect. And dates actually don't matter to him. And like significant milestones, like, you have in TA, you have these levels. He doesn't have these levels. He just has ideas, and that's it, right? So at this stage, the only way something would come out like that is if Ray and Josh decided to drop their UI on their own. So they have this working UI from what I understand, but based off what we just saw in the AMA, Forex has some changes that he wants to make to the PDF. What does that mean for the actual project itself? Who knows? So I'm doubtful that we'll get anything in April, since now it seems to be under Forex's control.
Yeah, and regarding what you said, there's some I noticed because I kind of went through ahead and read on the white paper here. If you look right here, let's see. And we go back. If we scroll down to the roadmap, it looks like, based off of what the roadmap says, unless, there's a change with Forex.
Yep.
If you look right here, launch within the new drip website / user interface. So what I'm getting from this is drip drop draw will be launched with the new drip UI. Is that what you guys are getting from that as well?
Oh yeah.
That's his intention for sure, to drop it with the new UI, which is which is good and bad. I mean, it's great. I think that's where it belongs, right?
Yeah.
But if one thing's holding up the other, we don't have confirmation. And from what I'm hearing on the back end, the UI is not ready completely. There's still some things that need to get sewn up. So is that a week thing, 2 week, 3 week thing? Then once that's available, then, you still really got to make sure that you implement this correctly, because they are two separate projects that are blending together. So, is that a 4, 5, 6 week thing? I mean, that's just kind of what we're, like I said, I'm conditioned. I've been through this over and over again. And I kept thinking, we are so close. We're about to launch this. And then it got pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. So, I mean, I'm just, reading between the lines and talking to my folks who are in the know and all that. I mean, if the UI is not really done for a couple weeks, which probably isn't, realistically, if it's not done now, it's probably going to take a couple weeks to button up everything. And then to integrate this into that, plus a week of marketing, you're already looking like a good month. So that my target date is May 1st.
So question, and this is to both of you. I know where Scott stands. He's already maxed out one wallet. Drip Coach, have you already maxed out one of your wallets yet?
No, I haven't, and I'm actually looking forward to doing my check-in, because I do a monthly check-in for transparency with my group. So this will be really interesting to see if we can hold these levels, because I'll max out in about 10 to 12 days. So I'm going to run the numbers.
Oh, so you're right there, man.
Yeah. What's left after that? And basically I'll be putting out a FUD video, because people are going to hate it. It's like, can you make money in drip with a max wallet after hydrating for over 1 year and building a massive team? It's like, these are all the check boxes that they sold me in the beginning. So I'm going to put it out there, and the numbers don't lie. I think I've sold a total of maybe like 200 drip, 300 drip back when we had $5 and I was trying to pad the runway, but it's been compound and hydrate DCA ever since. So
right. So
the
I
numbers
guess
don't lie.
Yeah. So I guess the follow-up question will be a little bit different for you, Drip Coach, but my question for Scott, and I may kind of know how you may answer this. So I remember when you were approaching your max wallet before you maxed it out, you kind of added some small additional capital just to kind of speed it up, right? Just to kind of get it to that max wallet. So now that we're, still kind of waiting on that additional utility for Drip, do you kind of wish you waited because it would have got there anyway in time, or are you kind of happy with the decision you made regarding that?
I'm good with the decision. It's negligible either way, really. Like the additional capital I put in, it sped it up, so I got done faster. I got to create the content on that a little bit faster. I am having to claim because there's nothing else I can do, so I'm claiming at a lower dollar amount. So yeah, maybe I'm not like making as much as I would have, but it also doesn't bug me because I've got multiple other wallets behind it that I've been setting up and feeding into. I'm about to start a new one, hopefully right before Drip Drop Draw comes out. If I can come up with like $1,000, that'll be a good start for that one. Get a couple thousand drip, and then that will be my next one. So in the end, I'm not ultimately that bugged that I maxed out earlier. I don't think there was a way to time it, right? Like, people kept telling me, I was trying to get to max wallet fast, and people kept telling me why. Like, it's, the price is going to go up later. It's better if you max out later. And then I watched the price go down forever. Right. So I just realized like there's no real way to time it. And as long as you've got max wallets coming one after the other, then you can choose whether to feed that into the animal farm. If you need some money in real life, if you've got another project you want to get involved in, if you want to just hold that drip, whatever it is, you have options with maxed out wallets. And as long as you've got at least one other wallet, just as a backup, just a smaller wallet that's going to come after that, then you're good. Because if you max out a wallet and you drain it all, then your story is over. It might be, it's over for you. You did everything, you drained it all, but you didn't really think about the future. We can't know that we're going to be in a heavy bear market and prices are going to crash on all sorts of stuff and banks are going to go under. Like, we can't know that. So you just got to constantly prepare yourself for the future, because right now things aren't looking that rosy, but I'm still on a max wallet, even after my whale tax is pulling like $120 a day. And that's like 45 grand a year, which is the median income in the United States. So while I'm like not a millionaire from it, I'm also logically thinking,
you still didn't lose money on the investment,
right? Like, I still think I'm going to net ahead on this, which just ahead alone is good, but then maybe make a decent amount of profit after all said and done. So yeah, in the end, as long as I got another one lined up, maybe in the future we can get the price to go up, and Coach and I are obviously trying actively to do that through the DAO. And then wallet number 2 that maxes out will be much more profitable than wallet number 1. But I started to realize that that's the game. And that's why all these big whales who made $3 million in drip last year and still have wallets, they don't care that they're making $100 a day. They already made a bunch. They got another one coming. If it lasts, it lasts. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It was a good investment for them. So they're not bugged by it. The Stunners of the world of Rays. I mean, they've crushed it. So there's nothing really for them, to hate on. So yeah, I would say it's a really long answer, but I'm not worried because I got another wallet coming later, and there was no way for me to know exactly which way the coin was going to fall. So just had to pick one side.
Not well said. And I think that's just it too. Like, if you utilize that max wallet for the future instead of just like, draining it all the way, I think that's what makes it beneficial. Because even though, the price may not be where we want it right now, you still have the ability to kind of speed up the process of another max wallet, which I kind of touched on in the video talking about multiple max wallets. Because a lot of people say, hey, we need a 3-figure drip. Would it be nice? Absolutely. But we truly don't need a 3-figure drip to make good money. No, you know what I mean? $24 makes you a millionaire.
Dude,
after the whale tax, after the claim tax, all of it. I mean, $5 drip, $3 drip is crazy.
It is crazy. It's 5-10x what the normal person makes in a year. So it's Yeah, a $5 drip alone would be really good. And I think we can. I mean, I don't see anytime soon without a serious bull run coming and like some crazy utility, like the lending just becomes lights out, us ever getting back to 3-figure drip, hitting an all-time high. I just personally don't see it, just based on the fact that the more this spreads, the more wallets we're going to have. It's going to even out, right? It's not going to be so volatile with bigger swings. We're going to see smaller swings and more consistency.
Yeah.
Dude, give me a $5 or $10 drip. Like, I'll take that all day.
Yeah.
I'll have one wallet coming after another, and I'll take a portion of all those profits and reinvest them in something that's long-term. That'll be Animal Farm, could be Bitcoin, could be, you know, some of these blue chips, any of that type of stuff. We got to prepare for the next bull run for real, because when the next bull run hits, a lot of these crypto projects that look terrible right now are going to launch, and we just got to be prepared for it.
I agree. So it looks like Forex chat is done. So it looks like we're starting to have a few more people come in, and then we can go ahead and get into kind of the drip marketing DAO and kind of how that came about. What was the I guess inspiration behind it? I guess I kind of know to help marketing for drip, you know, in a community driven way, but kind of get to the, like, hearing it from I guess the horse's mouth, what drew that inspiration, what made you guys just kind of put yourself out there and say, hey, we're going to go for this for the community. So I guess, I mean, that's a great question. What is the drip marketing DAO, and kind of how did it all get started? Because it was kind of like, from my understanding, it kind of happened at one time. It wasn't like you guys kind of put it out there and say, hey, this is what we're doing, and then this is when we're going to put it out. It was like it kind of just came out like, hey, here's the new drip marketing DAO. This is what we're doing. So kind of talk to us about that.
Yeah, it came together quick. I'll let Coach explain.
So I guess
he's the driving force.
Yeah. I can't say I created the idea. So the idea actually came literally from 𝗥𝗡𝗙𝗥 in just a side comment. So I was on a Twitter space with Kryptonite. He does the Twitter spaces. So shout out to him, Drip to Wealth on Twitter, every Wednesday at 5 p.m. if I'm not mistaken. So he had me on there to talk about my other project, Change 360. And then the community members were coming in to ask me questions. And 𝗥𝗡𝗙𝗥 came in and he mentioned something. He's like, he had an idea about a drip marketing DAO. He didn't give too much insight on it, but whenever I get an idea or something like that, I take it and run with it, like a dog with a bone. I hit him up and asked him, I was like, hey, I've heard your name. I knew you were working with the Guardians of the Reservoir as well. What's going on with that? And he mentioned something that he was no longer marketing for them. He had his building rock landscapes and marketing that, and in India and all this stuff. And I'm just like, oh, snap. Wait, this is something I could use. I was going to use originally for my Change 360. What would you do? And I had him just to kind of give me his idea behind it. And I was like, that resonates with me because I'm out here in Asia. I built a business in Asia. I'm marketing to Asians. I see the ad spend on that. I was like, he's speaking the same language. I was like, so what have you done with this? He's like, nothing. I was like, well, I'm going to throw you in a group with Scott. Scott didn't even know at this stage. I just said, I'm going to throw Scott in the group. So I put us, me and Rock first. And then I went over to Scott and said, hey, Scott, do you know Rock? And I got this group. We're going to make a DAO and you're going to be the kind of the authority figure behind the ad spend and all that stuff. He's like, yeah, sure. Sounds good. I've heard his name before. Let's roll with it. And that's pretty much how it happened.
So to be fair, so is it yourself, Scott, and 𝗥𝗡𝗙𝗥 are the 3 founding members of this DAO? Is that correct?
Yeah, you could call it that. It quickly went from 3 to then Big Rob Radio, and then I think within 2 days I found the Crypto Craft group, which is Gaz, Jo, and Nasty Canasta. They're doing all the art, and then Johnny Drip hit me up like a day later. So it went from one idea with 3 people to 7 probably in about 4 days. So I would call all of us kind of founding members, but that initial catalyst, I guess, was just me, 𝗥𝗡𝗥, and then throwing Scott under the bus and not giving him a choice.
It was good. I really wasn't given a choice, but it's like it's something I wanted to be involved in. Obviously, I have a background in marketing. I talk about marketing on my channel, so yeah, he just roped me in and said, hey, you want to get into this conversation. And but it didn't take very long. Like, we all understand the ecosystem. We all understand the crypto space. We all have a pretty good understanding of marketing and what's lacking. So the conversations are quick. Within 2 minutes, we've already figured out a solution for X. We can move on, And so coach has been really doing the project management, wrangling all the different entities and all these different personalities together to figure out who can play what role. And we just have so many talented people in the community that, like you said, the CryptoCraft group, I mean, they're putting out awesome visuals and content for us, and they're just all over it. So coach just says, hey, here's what we decided, we'll talk amongst ourselves in the core group, if you will, and say, hey, this is what we think we need to launch X campaign. He'll send that idea over to them. And within a couple of days, they've got different examples and, hey, how does this look? And so, having everyone work together that smoothly, I mean, it's, with how quickly we're working and how efficiently we're going, you'd think that we had worked together for a while in a corporate office, you know what I mean? So it's going good. Everyone knows their roles. The one thing that I do like is that no one really has an ego. Like we can, we trash on each other's trash ideas all the time. Like, yeah, that's not a good one. Let's move on. Right. And that's okay. Some people get really hurt by that stuff, but I mean, I just think we're all big boys and we're just in it for the result. And I have no time. And I know a lot of these guys, they're super busy too. They don't have any time. So we don't have time to nitpick over stuff that is inconsequential, right? Like, what's this going to get us to the goal? Let's knock that out in the 30 minutes we have to work on it today. And then let's come back later and redo it. So I like the efficiency of it, both out of necessity, because we're all limited in time. We have normal day, lives going on. But just also from a, I guess I like things to move quickly. I'm a quick mover. Yeah. Once you can turn it on, let's get it done and get it off the plate.
Yeah. So for the people that's watching, we still got more people coming in, leaving the previous live stream. Talk to us about now, since we kind of know how the Drip Marketing DAO came about. What is the Drip Marketing DAO? And then also, in a second question to that, what is the goal of the Drip Marketing DAO?
Cool. So yeah, best summarized, I guess the Drip Marketing DAO is just a group of passionate drippers looking to basically expand the drip ecosystem by using traditional marketing means, and specifically onboarding through the Drip Garden to English-speaking countries in Asia. So that would be the easiest definition of what we are. So we always hear that Drip is a community project, community-led, community-owned. So now, to me, it's time that the community actually take charge of that aspect of onboarding and hand-holding throughout the process. So I think Scott's mentioned this, or it's also a common phrase in marketing: a inferior project or product with superior marketing will outperform a superior product with inferior marketing. So we have both actually now with the Drip Marketing DAO and the Drip ecosystem, specifically Drip Network, Drip Community, and Drip Garden. Those are immutable contracts. So all we need to do is get eyeballs on it. So I would summarize that as the actual what it is, and then the goal would be just to onboard or make Drip a household name globally. That'd be like a good one-liner. Onboard as many people in the Drip as possible using traditional marketing means and the team that we got behind it. With
right.
The Drip Garden being the onboarding tool.
Well said. Yeah, I think he nailed it. That's basically what the structure is, and that's our objective. And then a lot of folks are like, okay, so you guys are taking over marketing, but how? What's the
right.
What are the nuts and bolts behind that? So there's a couple different ways to look at it. We don't get paid, right? And there's no marketing budget for this. So how do we make sure we can pay for the ad spend? We obviously can't afford to take it out of our own pocket. There's only a couple different avenues for that, and really, it's to pull money somehow out of the ecosystem without creating a whole new DApp and bringing outside money in, right? To utilize the tools that we have now. One of which would be to have a drip faucet in which, we would collect referrals, and then we'd have to sell 100% of the drip to cover the ad spend, which is not ideal. We don't want to sell the native asset if we can avoid it, right? So the other solution is the other, the other mechanism for drip, the other protocol, which of course is the Drip Garden. Now, Drip Garden, the way the referrals work is, as you guys know, it's an LP of Drip and BUSD. So those LPs come in. Now, in the faucet, when you get a referral bonus, that goes directly into the faucet and gets locked in your faucet. You can only pull out 1% per day. So if we don't have a lot of referrals right now, we can't pull enough to even cover the budget. You know what I mean? in the drip garden, those referrals are available right then. And then we have a choice of what to do. So we have the referrals available. We've got an LP, say it's worth $40. We can take that and split it apart, use the 20 of the 40 to be able to spend on ads, which will cover us for about a day worth of ads, because ad spend in Asia is much lower than it is here in the United States. And then on the other half is the drip. We don't really need to sell the drip. In fact, it'll probably be more beneficial for us to take that drip and run contests to the community, biggest deposit into the garden, whatever, anything to drive some additional traction in the community. And we can airdrop that drip over, keep it in the system, so we're not having to sell the native asset. So it's about the only mechanism that we could come up with without creating a new DApp to be able to have the referrals alone, which means that the end user that jumps on with us or wants to contribute loses nothing, because that referral fee would go to someone anyway. Might as well go to a marketing budget. So we use the referrals alone. We can cover the ad spend. We'll have some additional stuff for contests, and all we have to do is onboard new users with those marketing dollars. So it was the perfect, to me, the perfect channel to utilize the ecosystem. And granted, we have to sell a little bit of the BUSD liquidity, but if we use $10 of the BUSD liquidity and then we bring in $100 of outside investor capital, that's a trade you'd take every time. And that's just like normal business. It's like saying, well, you don't want to get rid of the liquidity in your business. Hey, if you're selling tractors and some of the liquidity that's sitting in your bank account is unused, I would use that to advertise, sell more tractors, because in the end the juice is going to be worth the squeeze. So the ratio for us, it makes perfect sense. It's the ideal time or the ideal avenue for us to onboard people without hurting the ecosystem, really adding more to it. It's a net positive for the ecosystem. That was the idea.
Okay. And before we continue, I just want to say shout out to Lee from 𝗕𝗘𝗏𝗏𝗏. Appreciate the donation, brother. He says just signed off, back home to watch the next door legends, all three. So man, always showing that positivity and support. So much appreciated.
This guy right now, what's funny is it's his wife's birthday right now. So he's literally he's hanging with his wife right now in bed while he's watching us, probably on his phone.
Probably got a beer with them potentially. Hey, Lee, you drinking a beer, man?
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's what's up. We got Drip Nomad, salute Mike, Coach, and Scott. Appreciate that. New users equal exit liquidity, a key element. Interesting.
I mean, with every investment, new users are always going to be exit liquidity for someone who got in before them, who wants to roll out of the investment. It's pretty much investing 101.
Yeah. So question, Scott, when it comes to, as you guys start to get more referrals, not in a, I guess, super technical way, but how do you guys plan to utilize those funds to help the marketing for Drip?
Sure. So just from a real basic perspective, as this money's coming in right now, what we've pretty much set is a budget range of about $20 a day. Now we could start lower, but I'm more of a fan of accessing more people earlier to optimize our campaigns, to figure out who our exact target audience is, rather than slow playing it, which is what you do when you have a real small budget. You just try to inch it in, so you're getting some additional dollars in to cover your next ad spend. We're going to front load it. I'm going to throw a little money in, and I know a couple other members will. So we'll have a couple $100 of cushion that'll get us through that first couple weeks. And then we'll start to utilize that other budget. So we'll learn who our avatar is. And then we're going to need to start pulling from the garden, which is, our referrals, which is what it's supposed to do. So as the referrals go up, as it's more and more successful, what we will likely do is we will continue to scale our ad spend budget. So if we're spending $20 a day and accessing 5,000 people a day, we're going to go spend 40 and access 10,000 people a day, and upwards until we get a return, until we see our ads return on ad spend suffering. So there's a point where you're scaling too far and now you're not getting as many clicks. So initially it will just be expanding that budget so we can get it in front of more people more quickly. And then eventually long term, once we nail the system and it's killing it, then we'll identify what the next market is, and we'll have a little bit of a fund there to go, okay, the next big thing we want to do is India, or the next big thing we want to do is, another country that we'll identify later. That's future state, right? Right now it's just, let's get people through the process of seeing an ad, coming over into our ecosystem. We'll handhold them in, try to get them signed up with the garden, give them a lot of support, have a private Telegram group, or, you know, a specific Telegram group for all these new folks to come on. So they're interacting with new people who are also new in the community. Because if you're talking to someone who's been in the community for a year, they're hardened and they don't want to hear anyone talk about stupid questions, simple questions, you know. But the new people, they're going to ask silly questions like, why is the drip price goes down, and how does a LP work, and stuff like that. And that annoys some of the old heads. But we realized, like, if we're going to onboard new users and make this thing go viral, we got to handhold the new folks in, and they can't be thrown into a Telegram where everyone's kind of clowning on each other. A lot of these guys, they need to be babied, kind of, you know. It's brand new. Like, crypto's a scary thing to get into, and DeFi is even crazier. And you're talking about gardens and percentages and all that. You need a buddy, right? You need someone to help coax you through it, a coach, if you will. And so we're going to facilitate that process better, where bringing people in from the ads over into our ecosystem, Facebook page, and all that stuff into their own Telegram. So a bunch of like-minded folks are in there. Once we get them into the garden, it's only a matter of time before they naturally go, help me get into the faucet. You know what I mean? So that's it. We're going to lead people into the faucet eventually, because I know some people are like, oh, you're neglecting the faucet. You can't do everything all at once, and you certainly can't do everything well all at once. So we're choosing one track to drive people through, to bring them into the ecosystem, and then they can flourish and go from there.
Anything you want to add to that, Drip Coach?
No, that's a pretty decent summary. I think you hit all the high notes. Yeah, nothing else on that.
And I guess another question, just to be completely clear, maybe community people have this question as well, and just so I understand all the way. I know you guys are marketing to English speaking countries in Asia. I know that's a focus, but is that marketing also going to go for the US as well, or is the focus just for those English speaking countries in Asia? And I think it's a valid question, you know.
Yeah, I would say initially right now, I would just avoid the US with as much as possible. One, it costs too much. Two, when you look at marketing, they're much harder to market to, because they have this expectation that they won't click on things unless it has so many likes or whatever. Like, there's so many barriers to it. And living here in Asia now, almost 7 years, geez. It's just much more. Yeah, it'll be 7 come mid-May. It's more communal. So the US, it's a double-edged sword, right? So the US has the ability to, move over, and you can achieve your dreams, financial freedom, whatever. You can do whatever you want, all that stuff. But because of that, it becomes a dog eat dog kind of mentality. And Asian culture is very much communal and community, and crypto is community. Like, you can't have crypto get to where we want unless it gets adopted by literally all these little people, essentially, because that's what drives any kind of market adoption. You need people to use the thing you're marketing. And the best way is to get it in front of people that you can actually communicate with, the unbanked, the ones that are doing the remittance, all these things that they will benefit the most from crypto adoption, to actually, quote unquote, pull themselves up from their bootstraps and get financial freedom for them, which is $1,000 a month versus the 100K that we want over in the US. And there's more of them. So literally, in my opinion, crypto adoption to become what we want has to come from outside the US. Not only has to come there, but that's the only way it's also going to get the US to stop regulating themselves out of the space right now. They're going to have to see other people go, oh, crap, this is a thing that we can't ignore. We're going to have to do something about it. And that only happens when you have the masses stand up and push together in one direction. So Scott would probably have more insight on if we go to the US, but it just doesn't make any sense by the numbers in regards to people that will join and the price to get them on. Like, it literally makes no sense. I'd rather translate everything we're doing into some random language, and versus trying to now market it to the US. That's exactly what Drip is currently. It's just this small community of people in the US. It's like, let that do its thing and move somewhere else and get much more momentum.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think it's multi-tiered, I guess, but it's harder to market to the US. It's much more expensive, and we don't have that type of budget. It doesn't really matter how much we're bringing in. it would take us a while to build up a garden that would cover the ad spend, because we need to be running $500 a day here in the US to be, really good. Like I would start a budget here in the US around 25 per campaign, running multiple or per ad set, running multiple ad sets. So it would get real expensive real fast. We don't have the dollars for that. In addition to that, the US is like 50 different countries. So everyone reacts a little bit different in different areas of the world. And, to make people want to identify with the advertising they're seeing. So to advertise to the US, we could advertise to the South differently than we could the Pacific Northwest, to the Northeast, to the Bible Belt, to all that. Those are all demographics that are different, and they're going to want to see different things and to have different emotional triggers, outside of the norms. In the in the Philippines, we can market directly to that target demographic with images that they're all familiar with. They all have really similar ideals. They're all in an extremely similar position in that what they need is just income generating opportunities. There's just not that many of them. Here, they're everywhere. You could do anything. You've got a million different ways you can sell stuff online or whatever. In the Philippines, there's less of that. So I think we'd actually be doing ourselves a disservice to try to capture this audience over here in the US when we've got that big audience over there, and we can tune it down to a niche. I mean, we're going to probably target most likely between 28 years old and 45-year-old males who have some familiarity with crypto. And, it's going to be a really niche demographic that we're going to be able to constantly have a lot of success with. And then it'll branch out from there. And as you guys know, once you get into, and especially in the Asian communities, like Coach was saying, once you get into something and it's working well for you, you start to tell people. So even though we're not targeting to the 50-year-old woman out there, the son is going, hey, I got into this and it's doing really well for me. I'm making $20 a day. And that's a lot for them. For me, $20 a day is like not going to cover anything. $20 a day is going to cover my power bill maybe at the end of the month, right? But for these guys, that's a lot of money that could really be a big deal for them. So marketing to those communities, I think is going to be more helpful. It will spread. And then we'll just go down the line. Like I said, maybe the next one's India. In addition to that, there's 113 million people in the Philippines. So we've got a pretty big audience to work with. It's not like we're marketing to 100,000 people here. So there's a lot of folks that are in an extremely similar position, and they all have a lot of the same ideals. And they want to see that same imagery because they identify with their culture and they know they just want to, pick themselves up out of poverty. They just need to be given a pathway. So from a marketing angle, it's way easier for us to target a niche than it is to try to coax US people into an investment when they're getting blasted with that all day, every day from, every different channel and 19 times on Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I think this is a great way as well. This question here, we can dive into people that's looking to support the Drip Marketing DAO or people that's looking to get involved. Can you talk about how to send LPs to the referral link? Honestly, I got it right here. You should see it here in the live stream chat here. Here is their actual link. You can also go to the Twitter page and they have it right there in their link as well. Let me post you guys' Twitter page as well.
And I'll cover this real quick. There's really two ways you can donate. And one of them is a donation, which you don't even need to do. And the other one just helps you. It helps both of us. So if you really want to, you can donate LPs and just send those LPs directly to the wallet that's attached to that link. And that's fine. We'll use them and we truly appreciate them. But what also be nice for you, because there's no downside for you, is for you just to start a garden under our referral address. That way you're not out anything. You're building your own bag. And then every time you're, making a deposit or hydrating or whatever, it's going to dump a little bit of referral into our bucket that we can use for the marketing. So I think that's another avenue in that since this was chosen, the garden was chosen, it's ideal because you can join and build your own bag. And we'll just take the little slivers of referral fees from all the folks that are willing to support us. And we'll use that for marketing. So send LPs if you really want to. If not, and you just want to start up a new garden under our wallet, that's all we're really asking for as far as community support.
Yeah. And in simplest terms, just kind of reading this question a little bit more, they're kind of asking how to send. So the same way, like say you have a second Drip wallet, let's say you want to send Drip to that second wallet. It's the same way. You'll just basically copy their referral wallet address and send those LPs over to that wallet address. and then they would take it from there. So it's pretty simple.
So if you're in MetaMask, you'll just go to send. You'll paste that wallet address in there. It'll ask you what token. Then you just need to choose the LPs that should be in your wallet. If they're added to your wallet, you'll see them. And in Ravvy, it's a little bit different, but most people are probably using MetaMask still. But yeah, you just click send. You paste in our wallet address. That's the dev wallet for the DAO group, and that's how you send it. Simple transaction, like you'd send any other token anywhere. LPs are just the same.
Yeah. And so I know on one of your previous live streams, Scott, you and Drip Coach were talking about the Drip Marketing DAO and how there's going to be more details about it in the future. Do you guys have any of that you'd like to share on tonight's stream, or are you guys still kind of working on some of those inside mechanics?
Nah, coach is all about being open, and he says there is no alpha, but I think there is. Every time we have something new that nobody's heard before, then that's alpha. So we can drop. I mean, we had a meeting last night. We jumped on with Rock, and we had a meeting for an hour and 10 minutes or something last night where we tried to talk through what our next steps were, because we're bootstrapping this thing, and we're just trying to take chunks out at a time and get it ahead. So we've created a timeline. I think some of the alpha may be that we should have our first round of campaigns, our campaign with a few different ad sets launched within 10 days. That's going to include a couple different styles of ads marketing directly to this core group in the Philippines. So I think we've identified the general target range of who we want to focus on. So we're going to structure out those campaigns over the next couple of days. We'll build them. And then as soon as we have the ads completely ready, then we'll do that. We're going to funnel people, like I said, directly from the ad initially into a Facebook group. This will be part of the education process, so it doesn't feel like a hard sale. It'll make them feel warm and fuzzy. We can help them actually understand what the whole investment is about, and then we'll transition them into joining the platform, possibly Telegram, figuring out where the flow exactly goes from there. Because with something like this, with an investment, it's not a product. Like if you want to go buy a broom, you just need to see the broom. You know what it does. You can click purchase. There's a longer sales cycle here with investments. They need to understand what it is, how to get in, what the potential outcomes are, both the upside and the downside. So there's an education process that needs to happen. You can't just drive people to a landing page and say, good luck. You know what I mean? We've seen that be unsuccessful on the Animal Farm site. The landing page doesn't tell them exactly what to do. And so people are like, oh, this looks like a cool project, but then they're gone, right? So if you're going to capture someone's attention, make it worthwhile. You just spent money to capture their attention. So I would say that those are some of the things we dialed in last night as far as timeline. I'm sure there's some more. What else did we land on last night, Coach?
That's the biggest thing. So the entire execution timeline, I guess. So this got, like I said, in conception about March 7th. So looking to have something to kick out to the community within 30 days from that idea. And the main thing is to have stuff up, at least from my side. I know, like Scott mentioned, he's busy, and Rock is more of a Twitter guy. He does his YouTube. But from my side, I'll definitely have at least weekly updates on what we're doing. We may not have the ads or the details on those ads, but showing, what the garden balance is for us, what we've done with it, showing some of the blogs. It's an entire holding sales funnel process. So many people don't even realize what goes on behind the scenes when you make a purchase with something. I just covered that in the video showing the funnel and how that works. But whenever you make this purchase, you have already gone through this entire funnel process that someone else set up to get you there. Like Scott mentioned with the broom, you just don't realize it. Sometimes it's quicker than others. So in this, we're going to have blog articles. We're going to have Facebook posts. We're going to have actual content on Twitter as well. We have the Telegram group that's currently run by 𝗙𝗘𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. We had him switch that over. So there will be multiple pieces along the way, and we're teasing out exactly what those elements are that will slide in. Is it a Facebook group? Is it going to be a pre-recorded webinar? Will it be a live on Facebook? All these other things, but they have to slide into the different parts of the funnel. And that will be the updates that we'll be able to share as we move forward before we start getting any conversions. And something I mentioned in the previous video, I think is going out on Sunday, maybe Saturday. We need to get these first milestones out. So we want the community to understand what it takes to make a funnel. We don't want them to be like, oh, we gave them money for a garden, and now we're going to start seeing people our Facebook followers for that group. Then you're going to see us increase the Facebook group joins, then people moving to the Telegram. So we'll be hitting these milestones, and we'll set those out and let the community know once we figure out exactly what they are. But we have to show you exactly where we're headed in the funnel and what those next key objectives are before we get to the final goal of, now we got 5 people to sign up after 2 weeks of running campaign ads. It's like, all right, now we finally got this funnel. Now we can fine tune the leaks, as they call it, in the funnel.
Okay. And I'm sure there's going to be updates you guys are going to put out as, this get closest to launch or as it gets ready to launch. I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I definitely, like I said, I'll be at least once a week giving updates, and we'll have the ad campaign set up, and then we'll give a launch date for when that campaign will be run. So we don't have it dialed in just yet, but should be definitely within the next week. We'll have those details of the campaign running or when it will launch, and then be able to show the actual ad campaign on Facebook, like I told Scott. And what I mentioned on my channel is like, I want to show this. It needs to be transparent. The whole reason Drip has the issues that it has is 1, the marketing, 2, the lack of transparency. So since people don't know, it's literally part of FUD, uncertainty. When you don't know what the hell's going on, you start making up stuff. And if you make up stuff and somebody else makes up stuff, everybody just starts feeding each other stuff. And then you don't hear anything to defeat that. So therefore you're like, well, maybe it's true. And it goes on longer and longer and longer, and you still don't get anything to combat that. So the easiest way to have positive price action, or at least positivity, is remove the uncertainty. Like it's really not that complicated. Just get out there, put out the information continually, and people will be like, okay, cool. They're working. Here's this. He finally made an update on that. Here's that. So that's exactly what I want to deliver with this platform, because the community is trusting us. So the major milestone I told Scott and Rock is the first thing we need to do is get the community, show community proof of concept, trust but verify, show everything that we're doing, be transparent with it so there's no questions.
And to the benefit and how powerful the drip marketing dial can be, take a look at this comment. Big respect for you all from Hungary, right? And we're in the US. Your guys are focusing on English speaking countries in Asia, which is also going to have a trickle effect as well. So this is just, the power of community and crypto itself.
Exactly.
Yeah, the communities, the potential is unlimited, and we're just barely getting into the crypto space, or as far as mass crypto adoption, we're just barely getting there. People are starting to understand why it's important, and no one's touching DeFi right now as far as like a percentage of any population whatsoever, right? You could fit us all in a stadium almost, you know what I mean? There's just not that many people. So there's a big wide open sea. If we cast a reasonably decent net, then we should capture a lot of those people. And like Coach said, I think with the transparency, it'll be easy to tell. Like there may be some campaigns we do where it's like, wow, that was a loser, but that's part of the process of like marketing. You're not, that same thing is happening with every company out there. You're just not seeing it. You're not seeing the losers that have to get cut and the winners and the scaling. You're not seeing any of that stuff. So you're just assuming, everything's always working. It's not how it works. And we'll be real transparent with that. I think people will constantly see little snapshots. Hey, here's how this performed in the telegrams and stuff. So I don't think there'll be a lack of information in the community at any time of exactly what we're doing, what's being successful, what isn't, how many people are getting onboarded. I mean, we're going to want to share those wins and keep the community, hype and support up. And like we said a few times, it's important for folks to know, like, we're not getting paid for this. There's no upside, no dev fee. The upside is we want the drip price to go up because we all have big drip packs.
Right.
So we're just all segmenting a small portion of our time to make sure that we hit it hard to get this going, because we're lacking marketing. And the support that we really only need from the community is just share the info. And if you want to invest in your own garden, just please use our referral wallet. I mean, it's not a big ask, I don't think, from our side. And I don't think the concept of what we're trying to do is a difficult concept either. So should be pretty good. The rest of the marketing dollars, once the community's supported it fully, the rest of the marketing dollars are just going to come from those folks compounding their garden and all the new people that we're onboarding, utilizing those referral fees. So the thing's going to start to run itself soon, and then we'll be able to scale, and you guys will see some success over time. But it's a bit of a process, it'll take us a few weeks to really get this thing up and running, to where we've got people from the ads to the Facebook group starting to get onboarded, and that money's starting to roll in, and we create a flywheel.
Well said. Well said. Shout out to Lee. Said I am drinking the beers with the wife in bed. You know me too well, man. And then look at the chat, man. We got a few people. We got from Africa. We got the
Nice.
UK. We have
Exactly.
Spain. And I mean, as Drip Coach was saying earlier, we got quite a few people here in the US, right? About close to 150,000 wallets, right? So probably about 100,000 plus organic holders. With that being said, look how many people though, like we have less than 100 people in this chat, and look how many different countries is in the chat.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? Like that's crazy. That's
Yeah,
crazy, man.
yeah.
Africa, Spain, the UK. I mean, it's
Right.
it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I lean more towards the side that we have closer to 30 to 50,000 individual drip accounts, personally, individual people. Because if you look at the Telegram, you look at the actual number of people in the animal farm as well, and then you look at how many people have multiple wallets on average, especially the originals. Man, I'm guessing this is so small that, like I said, 50K is my max that I would believe is actual individual unique people. And then when you look at us as content creators, you can look on the back end and see your analytics. 50% for me are coming from the US. So that's 25K. Well, there's another 25K spread across 200 plus countries. It's like,
Right.
yeah, back to your question, are we going to target the US? Why?
Yep. And that makes sense, man.
There may be a time and an avenue where that makes sense, but for now, it would make a lot more sense to hit some Asian markets, and then even certain parts of Eastern, Western Europe. And probably a lot of easier pathways to success, and it's so universal. We're not shipping products. It's just an education of how to get on something. If you've got an internet connection, then you're eligible to get this done. So.
Well said.
Yeah.
He said, this sort of feels like I watched the Avengers for the first time, seeing Iron Man, Thor, and Hulk all in the same movie. I'm a big Marvel and DC fan, so this hits home for me.
Love it.
Yeah,
Shout out
too.
to Slice, man.
Yeah,
Shout
yeah,
out
for
to
sure.
you, man.
Slice, hold it down.
What
All right, I
else?
dropped some alpha for with Slice. Just wanted to share that here on the stream since he popped in. I believe there's an angle to get Beats by the Slice into our marketing campaigns. I haven't quite figured out what that is. I sent him a message. This guy is dropping bars all the time, and music and video and stuff is definitely a hook that we can utilize. I don't know exactly how that'll work, but I know he's tapping in the drip community, get his stuff out there. So there's
For sure.
what better way than to take somebody with this talent, man, and bring it into a nice marketing campaign with some content or stuff like that. So
no,
Slice,
I know how to integrate it. I got an idea already. So yeah, let's connect, because we can do some pretty cool stuff with a little 20-second segment of music. So yeah, let's collab on that. The crazy thing is, whether we have 10,000 or 100,000 people in this community, there's a lot of talent. Like it's kind of crazy. There's a lot of people that are making music. There's a lot of graphic designers that are phenomenal. Like some of the stuff that they're creating for these little campaigns and stuff for Ray. I mean, the stuff is just clean. The white paper came together in 2 days and looks super professional. And we just got a lot of talent. And, I think we all have the same goal, is to get wealthy from drip. So, a few of us banding together and everyone kind of putting in their brick. And it's nice, like everybody's humble, like we realize we're all working for free. If Slice makes a beat for us, it's probably for free. And all the graphic designers, everyone's just trying to do something to help it up, rather than do nothing and just someone else's responsibility to make us wealthy. Like Coach said, the platform's there, it's immutable. If we do find a pathway to increase the price, we can. All we got to do is drive people to the platform, in whatever means, whether it's music or advertising or an offshoot protocol that helps funnel people here, whatever it is. The community could literally just build a million things and get more eyes on it, and we can see the drip price increase and never hear another word from Forex. So I think that's an important part of DeFi, and it's what we now need to do. I do think that once, I know Forex said something to the contrary of this earlier, but I kind of think that once the new UI is out, once Triple D's out, he's probably just going to go work on Animal Farm. I think
You
he
think
wants to
so?
work on Animal Farm anyway. He wants to work on all the cool games and all the stuff. He's just got or super chats or pretty much anything but Drip, because Drip's the old stuff he created. You know what I mean? It's like working on one of your old projects. He's got new ones. So, but I'm cool with that. If we can get Triple D in the new UI, the community could take it from here. We can market to a cool, clean UI. That's another reason for the garden that was an additional perk, is if we take people to Drip right now, it's the old UI, it's going to change, it's going to, whatever. We're taking people over to the Drip garden, which is currently on the Animal Farm, but it's a clean, new UI. It looks professional. So it's a better visual for onboarding users as far as a financial platform than the faucet is currently.
Mm.
Well said. Well said. We got MSC braces. Can 15 LPs be assessed instantly for a new start if you deposit 30 LPs? Now, I'm taking this question a few different ways. So I'm not sure if you're asking this on the referral side for the Drip Marketing DAO. Will they be able to use it instantly, or are you just talking about for yourself? So once you deposit in the garden, that 30 LPs is going to be locked in there. However, you can pull that out over time because it's Drip BUSD in, Drip BUSD out. So those seeds that you're selling is gonna be equivalent to the LP that you're getting. So if you put in 30 LPs, you're not going to be able to take out 15 LPs immediately. You're going to be able to take out the percentage, which is up to 3.3%, roughly 3% per day, based off of your compound and hydrate strategy. So there's some mechanics to go into the garden, but in simplest terms, that's how that would work.
And they might be talking about, can we access some of that? So
Right.
if you are, there's a few different ways, like you said, to interpret this. If you're starting a new garden wallet under us, then you're going to keep your LPs, whatever, 5% of that will go to us as a referral bonus, and that will be available right now for us. So yeah, if you're thinking about going in, you're welcome to donate the LPs, but just start up a wallet under that link, and the 5% will automatically go to us and be available. Now, we're not pulling that quite right yet because we haven't launched the campaigns. We're compounding it so we can get it a little bit higher. But we're up to, the community's been, we barely started promoting this a couple of days ago, and the community's just been on fire. We're at like 1.3 billion plants so far in the garden, which dwarfed my garden that I've been working on for a year like that. You know what I mean?
Same.
So it's pretty impressive, and it's going to put us in a good position to where we have enough to cover it, because that's the balance. We just need to make sure if we've got enough of that BUSD side to cover the ad spend, we're good. It's just a little bit of time from each of us to make sure this thing works. Outside of that, we can get it into position to where it can operate all by itself. We can run these campaigns and just check on them every few days and make sure we don't need to make any tweaks. But eventually we should be in a position where we're onboarding a lot of people. But yeah, right. I don't know. Hopefully that answered your question. There's a few different ways to read into it.
Quick plug, not to give anyone any kind of FOMO, but we have 93 referrals, so it would be cool to see 100 coming from Mike's live stream.
Yeah, sure.
Just saying. Yeah, we're 93 right now.
But 93 referrals, man. I mean, like literally, we talked a very short time ago and set this whole thing up, and then we really just started promoting it and getting everything out to where we were really talking about it 5 days ago, maybe. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I've got a timeline. I put it out in a video again, so I'm actually tracking all this stuff. So I got the first conversation I had with Rock, and then again throwing Scott under the bus. So that was March 7th, and then Scott was like March 8th, and then the rest of this coming together. So we're less than a month into this idea, from like a half-baked conception, dropping something in a Twitter space, to having a team of 7 with 30 days worth of blog content getting created, with Twitter going from 0 to 250 followers, Facebook page, all this stuff. Like, we are running as fast as possible. And not to mention, we got Canada, US, Cambodia, and Australia time zones getting all this ironed out. So this is what happens when you take a community-led project and it could get community support to develop it, and then you just have some good coordination, I guess, is just the best way to describe it. So everybody's executing, and that's why we're able to make these amazing leaps and bounds moving forward. But it's 100% community. Drip.community is what it's really all about.
And
It's
one thing,
cool. I will say this. I just thought of this because I've
yeah,
been involved in a lot of things, businesses and stuff like that over the years. A lot of people have really good ideas and they bring them together and you're like on board, right? You're like, oh, that's a great idea. Let's march after it. And then a few weeks into it, you realize you're pretty much the only one doing work. You know what I mean? Like it just happens. It's happened so many times to me where I've been just grinding and being like, man, I'm doing 95% of the work here. This wasn't my idea. They just pulled me in. And so with this, it's great because everyone's executing, like Coach said. I mean, everyone, we throw something out there, they execute, it's available, we move on to the next step. There's really no downtime where people are unsure of the decision or we're going to have a meeting to have a meeting. None of that happens.
Right. Just execution, man. Just execution. 100%.
you know, I want to show you guys in the community something I found very interesting because I watch this quite often, and we know DeFi is the future. So if you take a look here, I'm gonna blow this up a little bit. Look at the 7th largest sector in crypto, DeFi, decentralized finance, and look what's right above it. Sexes, centralized exchanges, and we know how that's went. It's only 15 billion more above DeFi. That's something to pay attention to, in my opinion.
Right. Yep. For sure. For sure.
What's your thoughts on that?
Like I mentioned before, just real quick, I think DeFi will become the largest sector simply because, again, the people that are impacted the most are over here. So they're the ones that are unbanked. They're the ones sending remittance. When I was in the military, I was in Operation Iraqi Freedom. I was out there in the desert and we had tons of Filipinos, people from India, Pakistan, and their job, they leave their country, and it happens over here as well. They leave their home country, go work somewhere else and send that money back. Now, back then, the only opportunity was to send it back via Western Union or MoneyGram and get hit with 30%. But this is the lifestyle of billions of people on the planet. And that's why I said they're communal. They support their families and they'll continue to do that. So they need a solution that doesn't just rake them over the coals and take all their hard-earned money. So DeFi will become, man, like it will dwarf centralized exchanges because they understand getting that money directly to who needs to have it. So if you got a mother in the village in the Philippines and you're over filling sandbags in Iraq, there's a lot of hurdles to get that to her. But with crypto and DeFi, it goes straight into her smartphone, for example. So I'm 100% on board with this. And this is why I'm so passionate about it, empowering the impoverished, because that is the solution. That is DeFi. That's what's going to happen. It's just a matter of getting the word out there and beating that drum so that it gets there, and silencing the paid media campaigns of the centralized stuff because they're going to tell you the opposite. Right. So I'm that much more passionate about it to prove it to everybody else.
Yeah. I agree, man. I agree. It's just crazy to see how DeFi is starting to slowly catch up to centralized exchanges, because centralized exchanges, the sector was a lot bigger than that compared to what DeFi is now. So you can just see people are starting to get more involved in the DeFi side of things when it comes to crypto, with, you know, bank collapsing, all the centralized exchanges that went down last year in 2022, you know, so a lot of people are starting to, in my opinion, educate themselves a little bit more to figure out how can I secure my assets.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like with anything else, people are going to start to turn toward alternative media for some information. And I think there's already a lot of people that are now, especially right now, understanding, hey, I understand what the importance of Bitcoin is. Our governments are imploding the system, everything they could do to implode the system. There's no debt ceiling. They just keep raising it. It's just like you're already broke, and to look good, you just keep racking that credit card up and they keep raising the limit. It's not a healthy way to live, and eventually it will implode. But they're doing it with your tax dollars. So, hey, you know, we're going to spend all this money. We have no accountability whatsoever. And we're just going to keep trying to tax you higher and higher, and you become less free and less free and less free. Eventually, people are going to start to see it. And I'm interested to see if that's sort of happening now. For the longest time, I've always thought it was odd that the traditional markets and the crypto market have kind of been moving in tandem. To me, they should almost be, you know, the opposite of each other, basically, because they operate on two completely different principles. So at some point, you're going to see a divergence you're going to see the markets crash and you're going to see crypto go up. And we kind of saw a little hint of that when a couple of the banks crashed over the last 2 weeks. Crypto started to have a rally. Bitcoin went up, tapped 28, and banks were going under. There's going to be a light bulb moment for a lot of folks where they realize, okay, banks aren't actually that safe. I'm going to lose a ton of money. And not only that, the US government or these governments, they're deciding what banks they're going to let live and which ones are going to die. That's not safe either, because they have even more control. What is this crypto stuff? And how important is autonomy, security, all that type of stuff. So I think eventually you're going to see a massive divergence where you see the US dollar basically crash, and all of a sudden cryptocurrency is going to be the new thing. And governments are going to hate it across the world because they want to have all the control over it and have control of the tax dollars and everything. But eventually you can't be so corrupt for so long and expect people just hang on with your system forever. And there generally was no option for people before. But now, if you have a smartphone, you have access to your own entire currency. There's really no need for a lot of folks. Like, let's say I'm doing work for Coach for his new platform. He could pay me in cryptocurrency. I could take that cryptocurrency and pay other things. That at some point, especially with like Spritz, I don't really need to transact with US dollars. True. It doesn't really help me. There's more fees. There's more red tape. I can interact and do commerce with people just via the internet, and by using cryptocurrencies that are safe and not getting inflated to 1 million. So BNB, Bitcoin, stuff like that are really good methods of payment. You know what I mean? They fluctuate a little bit, but secretly so does our dollar. We just don't know it.
Yeah. And speaking of Spritz, man, and shout out to Spritz Finance. What do you think about the new utility they did for drip, adding drip to Spritz, allowing it now to be, off ramped, or now you can just pay your bills? I think that's, big, definitely in the future, compared to how many people hold drip, how many people have so much of drip.
I think Coach did that. I'll let him speak on it, and then I'll let him. I think he was the catalyst for that, to be honest.
Man, that's big
and
time.
Then I'll let him speak on it, and I'll also let him hit how we're utilizing Spritz in the DAO.
Take it away, Coach.
yeah, that is huge. And I was one of the first ones that covered it with Chris, and then had him on, and there was a couple other content creators that had Chris, the CEO, on as well. And the big thing that I noticed in the beginning is there was no way to sell drip. And then after talking with him and thinking about it, I was like, wait, the idea is not to actually sell drip. So we had been in conversations back and forth. Still got emails. I just released this on my channel as well of an update. So I came up with this idea, and I've shared this a couple of times, and maybe your viewers don't know. The idea is to not sell drip. So this is a great step. But what I told Chris, and I told him I want to be the catalyst for this as well, so that we can actually test this out. I've been transparent with, I think there's like 2,100 people that have signed up. No, 200. I don't know. There's a lot of people that signed up under me, but very few have completed the steps for me to actually get that referral reward. It's like 25% have completed the steps. There's 75% of the people hadn't completed the steps. And I was talking to Chris about this. I was like, if this is an indicator of how it is for me, I'm guessing other people out there are the same. He said, yeah, we can't get people to make these additional steps. And he's like, we've tried everything. We've done incentives. We've done that. I was like, Chris, you're missing the point.
I lost you there, Coach.
I was like, what you need to do. Oh, sorry. Where did it break up?
I lost you right before when you said, Chris, this is what people need to do. You're missing the point. And then we kind of lost you.
Yeah, right after that, we missed the point.
Oh, my bad. I told him, I said, Chris, you're missing the point. People don't have the money because we're in a bear market. They have no assets to sell, but they still have bills in fiat in the real world. Your platform is the unbanking solution. So stop trying to incentivize them to sell their crypto, and instead incentivize them to bridge what's in their bank over and pay their bills. So if I pay $5,000 a month, I don't want to come into Bitcoin or something like that could be unstable, but I still got to make that bill. So if I bridge that over into a stable coin, pay the bill from there, and Spritz still charges me a fee, but now my community does that together, part of those fees can go back and buy the token. So that was the idea I pitched to him. And so this selling of drip was kind of the piece in the middle, because he needs the way to validate who's coming from what communities first, and then collectively move forward with some way of actually incentivizing communities to bridge their capital over, get unbanked. And then he can say, okay, all these people together collectively paid $1 million this month for bills. We're going to take 5% of that and buy back their native token. And in our case, buy it back and burn drip. So that's what I've been lobbying for. And he now has the affiliate program, which was the other step in the puzzle. So there's an affiliate program, which is different than your referrals. And that actually becomes a continual monthly kickback. So right now, if you use a referral link, it's a one time. You get $50, they get $50, and plus the 10. The affiliate is every month. Every time they make payments, every month you'll get a portion of their total monthly bill payment. So that can be going towards that community wallet, specifically like Drip, like I mentioned. So there's a lot of pieces he has to test in that. Clearly, he's got a lot more moving components and regulation and red tape and stuff like that. But that was the alpha from his side to get this implemented, and how to get the Drip community to support it. Piece that Scott was talking about is we're going to be using, I've already created a actual Visa prepaid card that will be used to tie to the ads. So the ad spend will be coming from the Visa prepaid card, which is getting funded from the Drip multi-sig wallet that we created. So it's using Spritz as well. And if this kicks off with this referral and affiliate, we're going to be getting paid for paying the ads, basically.
Well said. So well said. So this question here, Justin, he says, bro, the reason people aren't completing is because you have to connect your wallet to Spritz. I'm good on all that nonsense. So one thing I say, if you use any DeFi protocol, all you have to do is connect the wallet. So if you use Uniswap, PancakeSwap, the same way you connect your wallet there and you're done, same way you do with Spritz. Once you connect it,
right,
it's done. There's nothing else left to do. So I would highly recommend, if you can utilize what Spritz offer, connect your wallet and you'll see how easy it is. That's all you have left to do after you set your account up. So I disagree with your statement, brother. Disagree.
Any protocol you do, whether you're in the Drip network, you're connecting your wallet. So if you don't trust Spritz, that's okay. There's a lot of us that are using it. Hundreds of us that I know in the community that are using it. I use it. I use it almost every single day to move money around. So it's certainly doable. So that shouldn't be the main concern. The reason people aren't connecting it is they connect it, but they don't go follow through and make the deposit.
Right.
Just because they're tied up in the faucet. They don't want to sell their drip. They want to keep compounding it. So they don't really have the money to transfer out, or they're not making money in other protocols or whatever it is. So it's not that. It's just that we're in a bear market. People don't have the money to transfer out of their account. Most people are still buying in the bear market, meaning they're transferring fiat through a centralized exchange to get on their MetaMask wallet or whatever it is to buy more crypto right now. So you're going to see a massive difference between bull market and bear market when you're talking about off ramp or offboarding crypto to fiat. It's going to be completely swung one way or the other, depending on whether we're in a bear or bull market. That should make sense. If I'm making millions of dollars, I want those dollars in the real world. You know what I mean? If we're in a super bear market and stuff is cheap, I have to take US dollars and then put them over into the system. So that's the reason.
Yeah, exactly. You can't connect to anything. There's no point in being in crypto if you don't connect your wallet. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You got to connect to something.
So, and then we got Forever Grind Crypto. He said, no, it's the KYC issue. And then Justin says, yeah, but I'm not KYC'd on any other D app.
Yeah.
It's not really KYC, is it?
Yeah. No, it's a light KYC. And I know that
it's a light KYC to a degree. Yeah. I mean, it's not a heavy one, but they at least are going to know to a degree who it is. You know what I mean? Because they have to know what account are you paying or what bank account are you sending money to, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you want to add your account, that's correct.
You know what I mean? So,
but just so you set up, just a telephone number.
I can use a cell phone number. So that's really the KYC. Mm-hmm. But if you want to listen, if you want to take money from the crypto world and get it into your bank, there is a connection, no matter how you do it. Either your centralized exchange knows that information, you're fully KYC'd on the centralized exchange or whatever. So if you only want to ever transfer crypto back and forth and you can do it in that world, then fantastic, do it. But for the most of us, we have bills and all that stuff that
KYC,
need
right?
to happen in US dollars, meaning you would need to do it. And it's a soft KYC. So, but the thing is, like, that could be anybody's bank account. They don't even verify that it's yours. They just verify that it is a real thing.
Correct.
I can pay Coach's credit card right now
If
if
you
I have a
wanted to.
credit card number. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
And that's
one-way
not the
transaction. It's only paying them money. So
Correct.
That's KYC is not the issue, because there are people that aren't on the platform. What I'm talking about is people that are already in, they've already KYC, they've already used the referral, they haven't completed the payment. So people are missing the boat. There's always trolls in my comments as well. It's like, yeah, there's a group of people that want to complete anonymity and not do this kind of stuff. But the majority of people in crypto have no problem. I mean, we use Facebook, use YouTube, use all these other things that are way more centralized and collecting way more information. Most people just want something simple. That's marketing 101. Make it simple and they'll use it. And the people that want the complete anonymity and all that stuff, yeah, they're out there, but that's not the bulk of the population that we're talking.
That's like 1% of the population. 1% of the population cares about that stuff.
The bulk of people want something slim, fiat and all that stuff. But if you can minimize that barrier and take away that friction, the people that will make an impact will move over. And those are already in Spritz. They just haven't paid. And there's only one logical reason they haven't paid, because they already KYC'd. So I just don't get it.
And Lee said it best. Real world versus crypto has to have some KYC, unfortunately. Until we have full debanking, KYC, which is know your customer, is an issue. To pay my bills, KYC has to happen. Anytime you're dealing with government dollars, they want to know who's spending those dollars, who hold those dollars. It's just how it works.
Yeah. And truthfully, like, let's not get too deep in this conversation because it's a bit of a gray area. But if you're adding a credit card to that, not your bank account, a credit card to that, and you're transferring money to pay those bills, that information isn't free. So in order for them to get the information of you actually getting that paid, they're probably going to have to subpoena that information from American Express to dig in. And it's a whole different story. So yeah, if you're tripped out about any type of KYC, you will never be able to get money from the crypto world into the real world. It's impossible. So it's cool if you can transact in that. It is, and more power to you if you can. If you need anonymity, like you said, then good. You just need to find every service or product that you can utilize crypto for and not transact in any US dollars or whatever your currency is. It's impossible for me because I live in a house that I have to pay my mortgage with dollars. You know, my food, I really got to pay with dollars. There's maybe some stuff, a couple restaurants around here that would accept crypto. But in the real world that I live in, I got to have US dollars to pay my bills. There's 5% of things I could do with crypto, which is cool. And I'm doing that on the side, but it's not mainstream yet. So yeah, if you need anonymity, I would love to know right now how you are paying for stuff right now, but in US dollars in the real world with all the money you're making in crypto, because that I know of, there's really no path other than barter systems like Coach. I'll design that for you. Send me 5 BNB. Outside of that, it's not happening. There's no standard process to do that. So you got to KYC at some point or live a fully crypto life, which is not feasible for most of us.
Yeah. Right. Well said. Well said. So we've been going for about 1 hour and 17. The conversation has been great. I do want to touch on, though, what do you guys think about a little bit? Because as we was coming on to this, of course, we know the Forex drip AMA was still going on. So based off of what you heard, what you guys kind of saw on the white paper drip, drop, draw, what are your guys' sentiment? What do you guys think of it? Have you kind of looked at the mechanics? Have you kind of looked at some of the things that's going to implement and help drip? What's your take on it?
Go for it, Coach.
I've covered it in detail multiple times. So if, I didn't watch the whole AMA. I did get up and fast forward through it and listen to it. So basically everything I saw he covered was what Ray had already dropped, even the screenshots, stuff like that. So nothing new for me. I do believe this is the solution that we need right now for drip. And it's just a matter of getting it out there. Okay.
And then a follow-up question. I know Scott said earlier, he said he could potentially see Forex once the new UI is launched, once drip, drop, draw is launched. You can see him going back to kind of focusing on animal farm ecosystem. So what is your take on additional utilities such as the lending, of course, and then scratchies as well, which was supposed to, come out as well. So what's your thoughts on that? Do you think we're gonna see that maybe this year sometime, or do you think that's just kind of gonna go under the rug and see how drip drop draw and the new UI does? And then if we need additional, then that will kind of come back to the forefront. What's your take on that?
Man, that is a crystal ball I do not have. So if you go back to last year's roadmaps and all those things, Bet Fury, all that stuff that just kind of disappeared. We don't know where any of that stuff is. So they always sound great, but like, again, the uncertainty part, we don't get any updates on any of this stuff. So the community either forgets about it or a new shiny object comes out that gets more hype. So Scratchies was debuted, I think like May last year, July, somewhere in there. And he has a team for Scratchy, but yet we don't have any updates on it because, which makes sense. As he mentioned, he doesn't want to dwarf the projects as they're coming out. But there needs to be something like once a week, two weeks. Here's an update on the roadmap so that everybody knows all the stuff that was promised 8, 9, 10 months ago. It's like, where is each piece in that development process? And we don't get any of that. So all you get is once the one thing he focuses on is there, it's just everything on that. So Dogs Roulette transformed to Piggy Plinko, and it's heads down Piggy Plinko. But he mentioned the other day that there is a Scratchy team separately, right? So that's cool. Well, what are they doing? What have they done? What are some of the updates? Would be nice to hear. And then with Drip, it's a Drip team. And like Scott mentioned, we're in a group and we know some of the devs in there working on that, or at least get insight from that. So it's legitimate, a group of people. So I believe that. And they're working on it. We get that feedback. But what is on their roadmap as well? What are the updates on that side? So like in this AMA, we didn't get any updates from that side. We just got, here's the white paper, which Ray had already showed 2 weeks ago. So we're still uncertain as to the key thing people dialed in for, which was when drip, drop, draw. So it just leads to more uncertainty is my point. So I don't know if I answered your question in regards to will we see his focus or whatever there. I think if I had to wrap that up, his focus will be on whatever the next immediate thing is, and probably primarily, Animal Farm focus, because I think the biggest hype now we get actually is the poker game and the super chats. So that seems to ring more bells than even Scratchy at this point.
And the only reason why I asked that question as well is because remember a few AMAs ago, Forex had mentioned, he said, hey, the idea and the goal would be to, once we get that first utility out for Drip, would be to launch more utility for Drip either the next month after or every other month. And this is why I kind of asked, because I thought it was very interesting that Scott said he could see his focus kind of going back to that, Animal Farm. So that's kind of why I asked that question.
Yeah. He mentioned that last year. So we were supposed to have an every other month or monthly launch in November when the farm went fully live. Yeah. So I kind of have thrown that out the window at this stage.
Yeah. I think we eventually will get Scratchy. I think they're far enough down that he won't abandon it. And I think we will get Scratchy for Drip because it's no different than he just plugs a few different numbers in for pigs or dogs. So it's basically already done. He's already creating it for pigs and dogs. So obviously it would be beneficial to use for Drip too. So I think we'll eventually get it, but I mean, maybe sometime this year. There's just the timelines are so off. And obviously we're all frustrated by that. And I wouldn't be frustrated if there was no timeline, but it's hard when it came out last May that Scratchy was going to get launched. And then it went to July and, further and further. And now we honestly have no idea. We got the leak of the bunny running on Pancake Swap, that never really turned into anything. We had the Bet Fury thing. We had a lot of stuff. And then you just stopped getting updates on it. So you don't know if it's a real thing or if it fell out. I mean, we kind of forcefully butted heads with the Ape Swap guys. It was going real well. And then they're like, hey, there's no real partnership here. And that, blew up in flames basically. And then they started, raiding the chat and giving the Ape Swap guys a hard time. So you just never know really what to expect. So it'll be interesting to see. What we get. But what Drip needs to me is a couple of things. We need the refreshed UI to come out. And layer 2, And all that's going to prove, I mean, the UI is all it's going to prove is drip wasn't abandoned, right? The dev is still around, still working on it. The progressions that they said they were going to make, they are actually making. It's just a vote of confidence in my mind. And the vote of confidence would increase the price, not that a UI is utility. And then layer 2 is a nice utility. It's another reason to hold the token or play with the token, transact with the token. So that'll be helpful. And then the thing that we've needed since day one that we haven't really had any of is some sort of marketing. You have to get outside eyes on that. There's a lot of people out there that could utilize DeFi that haven't been told about it. And I know we think, hey, drip's the biggest thing ever. But even the people who know about DeFi, most of them don't understand what drip is, have never heard of it, don't know how to get in, don't understand what the garden is. So we got to go access those people. I think we're letting our egos get ahead of us that drip is just this big, massive thing. There's not that many of us in it in the scheme of things. And so we have to market to people. The entire time we should have been marketing. I mean, it's some sort of way to market. And I'm not talking about marketing in that I'm going to have these botted up Twitter accounts put a tweet out about whatever. That's not effective marketing. I can tell you right now, because when you do that, you should see a price rise or landing page visits or whatever. And we haven't been able to show any of that, mostly because, to be honest, it just doesn't work. In addition, there's a lot of marketing tactics that don't work. And I think it's cool to be trending number one on whatever. But if that isn't translating to an increase in the investor price or sentiment or whatever, then it's wasted marketing, in my opinion. It's nice to have all those things coinciding. Like, it's nice, like right now, PIG's price is going up. We're trending on a few things. That's good because people see that we're trending. Oh, that's interesting. Look at it. Notice the chart's going up. Then they're buying too. The FOMO starts to kick in. But just being everywhere means zero. I've been telling Coach, like, I want to make sure that with what we're doing, that we're measuring what matters. And in the end, what matters is that we're increasing the drip price by user adoption. So if we're everywhere and we got 10 million Facebook followers and everyone thinks we're doing a great job, we've got all these articles and we're trending on Google or whatever, TikTok, but there's no increase in people joining the garden, then it is a complete waste of time. We have to actually achieve what we're setting out to achieve, which to me, no one could know our names. No one, we could be completely on the back burner. No one's interested in our initiative, anything. If the price is going up, I'm perfectly happy. So it's not like we're, trying to get notoriety from out here, trying to market this thing. We just want the price to go up. And if the price was maybe I'd stop making YouTube videos. If the price was $100 a piece right now, I'd probably be too busy on an island somewhere. You know what I mean? So that's how it goes.
Man, well said, man. We've been going almost an hour and a half. It's been a pretty good stream. I know the first maybe 15, 20 minutes, we kind of just talked about other stuff as more people kind of trickled in. We got up to 100 people and then kind of stayed around 75, kind of stayed around 80, 85 for around 20 minutes or so. But I know a lot of people probably got a lot to do. It's the weekend, things of that nature. But man, it's a great conversation. Drip Coach, again, pleasure actually meeting you for the first time. Scott, you know how we do, man. We always chop it up pretty well. So, man, this may be something we have to do again in the future.
Absolutely.
See how it goes.
And I think one of these times, I don't have to be on it, but you should. Coach has a pretty interesting project coming out, so you should link up with him on that. Both because you guys are both into health and fitness a lot, and it has a kind of a tie-in with drip and helps the community. So that might be a good little chunk of content for you as well. But I'd be happy to do this again, even if it's just a update video on the DAO or whatever. Of course.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
Yeah, appreciate the
Coach.
plug.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about it. Do you are we connected on Telegram or not? I mean, not Telegram, but Twitter.
I don't know. I'm not the Twitter guy. I have content going out there, but I can definitely add right now. It's in the message or something like that. So I'm guessing you're at Mike the Investor, probably, right?
Yeah, make sure it got a blue check. There's some scammers out there.
Yeah, I'll send you a message for sure. Because I reset on my page. There is some alpha in Harl, basically drip marketing DAO and my Change 360 platform are going to integrate. The team has kind of been teased that, but this was also another reason for me taking the reins and running forward with this, because marketing is necessary. And ideas are a dime a dozen. I mentioned this to Scott, and I was like, okay, here's where I've always failed is in marketing. So I need a marketing team, and why not build one just like the Avengers, right?
Well said. Well said. So last few comments. Let's get to $1 first. Justin, man, hope everything works out with your being anonymous with crypto, but sounds like he kind of came around a little bit. He says he's probably going to use Spritz now because it has drip. You mentioned that comment earlier, so shout out to you, man.
Appreciate
yes,
that.
for certain.
Yeah.
Well done, Laz. Always producing top content. I'm gonna have to watch the replay. Replay will be available a few minutes after we're off, so you'll definitely be good there. And Drip to Wealth, what up, family? Man, where you been, Drip to Wealth? You just get on, or have you been watching the whole time and just decided to say what's up?
He's a silent assassin. He's been watching probably.
It's all love though, man. Well, hey, man, it was a great live stream. Appreciate you guys coming on, touching on what the Drip Marketing DAO is going to do, how it supports Drip, how it can be very good for Drip as well, and just kind of what your guys, sentiment is on the future utility for Drip and just overall. Because I definitely think the community likes to see that, because when, in my opinion, and this is not coming at anybody, I think every content creator, YouTuber, influencer, whatever name they go by, they all have kind of like their niche. They all kind of have like what they specialize in or what the community gravitate towards them on. And I think it's great to have 3 different type of mindsets kind of talking about the community, and Drip, so people can actually kind of see, hey, what does Mike think? What does Scott think? What does Drip Coach think? And then we're all here live. So I think it's a great way to just, reconnect with the community.
Facts.
Agreed.
Thanks, guys, for doing everything you're doing. This was really good. Thanks, gents. I appreciate it. Appreciate all the donations as well. And the live stream will be available. If you guys, I know most of you guys know Scott, Drip Coach, but if you haven't, definitely go ahead and subscribe to their channel. If you like passive income as well, they're going to get you right. So definitely go ahead and subscribe. Also, subscribe, go ahead and follow their Twitter, Drip Marketing DAO, as well. I also have the link in the live stream. Let me go ahead and post that one more time for you guys. Definitely follow that, because they're going to be doing updates on what's going to be coming next for the Drip Marketing DAO. So stay tuned to that. Scott the Investor, appreciate it. Drip Coach, appreciate you guys coming on, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Sounds
Appreciate
good.
it, man.